taking over.
Let's go.
It's Ferrall.
Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money.
It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
Yeah, so Carver, I had the whole deal going, with the Willie Stargell and the spin. I had the little flick and a roll, and then 2 times he'd wind it at the end and have the elbow up. And I said, who am I imitating? And they both looked at me like I had boogers on my face. Neither one of them had a clue who Willie Stargell was. So, at that point, I threw the bat down and I walked inside the house. I quit. I quit playing with him out of respect for Wilbur. I refused to play baseball in my backyard with 2 young punks that think they know everything, that have never heard of Willie Stargell and didn't even have enough with their fast phone and Google to look him up. They just said, I don't know who that is. And I'm like, my son has been to PNC. He has seen the statue of Willie Stargell and Roberto Clemente, and he had no clue who he was. A massive disappointment as a father.
Unbelievable. I can't believe it. I have more NFL for you here to start out number 3. And by the way, that was an absolute bomb. That Stargell homer at 3 Rivers way back in the day.
He hit one out of Dodger Stadium, 2 of them out of Dodger Stadium.
That thing still has not landed. More NFL for you. The Bears and linebacker Roquan Smith, they don't really like each other. He showed up at camp a few weeks ago. He wants more money. He wants a new deal. The Bears don't seem inclined to give him one, Scotty. So today, Smith requested a trade. Says the Bears refused to negotiate a new deal in good faith. They gave him a low ball offer, Scotty, and he's not happy with it.
Listen, is it not amazing to you, Mike, that the Chicago Bears, in the 3rd largest market in this country, and after the glory of Ditka and the 85 Bears, can you even, muster up enough of an answer to explain to me why all these years they absolutely do nothing to get better? They don't have any players. They don't have anything. And, they keep talking about this Justin Fields. He was atrocious last year. They have no offensive line. They have no defense. They got rid of Mack. He sucked there, too. Is it not amazing to you how bad the Chicago Bears have been forever? They're awful.
Yeah. They're awful. And I'm seeing them in the area of like 10-1, 11-1 to have the worst record in the NFL this year.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking about it. And I know the Texans are going to be bad, and Seattle's going to be bad, and the Falcons. I think it's worth a shot. I could see I could see the wheels really coming off the bus in Chicago this year with that guy Eberflus. I mean, we already saw Fields. Remember we played him last week, and he's sitting there like, he wants no part of being in Chicago either. That could get ugly really quick. Bad news for the Jets, Scotty. I actually really feel bad for the kid. Mekhi Becton, their first-round pick 2 years ago in 2020. He missed all of last year with knee surgery, or pretty much the entire season. And now he's likely done again for this entire season. A avulsion fracture in his right kneecap. Not a good scene finished for Becton.
I think he's finished permanently.
That's tough, man. It really is. 2 years in a row, you lose basically your entire season.
He's 350 pounds. He's got 2 blown-out knees. He's too fat and enormous to be an athlete in the NFL. Did you see footage of him a week ago pushing that coach down on the ground? He threw him like a rag doll. The guy is a monster, but his body cannot keep up with his own size. I think he's finished. We welcome all of our radio affiliates. Sirius Channel 159 is our satellite home. Sports Map, Sports Byline. What up, kid?
The NFL owners today, Scotty, made the sale of the Broncos to Walmart heir Rob Walton and his group official today at a special league meeting. So Rob Walton now the owner of the Broncos. He becomes, Scotty, the richest owner in the NFL honestly, by a lot. He's worth $59 billion, obviously having that Walmart brand behind him. The next owner in the NFL is Tepper at $16 billion.
I had a moment with Walmart the other day when, I live in New York City, and 34C said to me, I was in, as you know, down the shore in Delaware, right near Biden's stomping grounds at Rehoboth Beach, and 34C said on the way to dinner, I'm taking her to a 5-star restaurant for dinner. She said, "Oh, I wish we had a Walmart in New York City." I'm like, "Shut up! No Walmart and a Big Apple. We only have murders."
Walton, worth a lot of money, now owns the Broncos. Congratulations to him. The NFL says that Aaron Rodgers' use of the psychedelics, I ain't even going to try to pronounce that, didn't violate the drug policy. Of course it didn't, right? Because Aaron Rodgers did it, right, Scotty? So it's no violation if Aaron Rodgers did it. I'm sure if other guys did it, there would be, but not him. He's allowed. He can take it.
How is it that you're allowed to do psychedelic drugs and it's okay in the NFL, but everything else you're suspended for 6 games? You can't even have a milkshake without getting thrown out of the league.
No, you cannot. The NFL has asked the referees to focus on illegal contact fouls this year after a big drop-off in 2021. That's what we need, Scotty. More yellow flags. Keep throwing them all day long. More yellow flags all over the field. That's what we need.
Can't touch anybody. 5 yards and a first down. It's going to be all season long. Going to give you a heart attack.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday, and I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
With Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-450-0515. 1-800-450-0515.
Attention! Do you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS? If so, you may qualify for the IRS Fresh Start program, so you won't have to make any payments to the IRS. That's right. If you qualify for the IRS's Fresh Start program, you won't make any IRS payments once you are accepted. Once you are in the IRS Fresh Start program, they must stop all harassing and threatening collection activities. Call Tax Relief today now at 800-382-1870 to see if you qualify. Again, 800-382-1870.
I lost my motivation. I was feeling old and starting to look it. And then, voila, I feel better than I did in my 20s. If you feel stuck, if you can't find the drive, it may be due to low HGH, which naturally drops with age.
Your growth hormone levels start declining in your 20s, but GF9's lab-tested, patented formula is designed to boost GH levels naturally by up to 682%. Growth hormone is associated with reduced body fat, increased lean muscle, improved energy, mood, and more. And best of all, GF9 has been shown to work in as little as 2 hours.
I've taken a million different supplements. This is the first one that I've noticed has made a tremendous difference.
To me, GF9 is the best supplement out on the market.
GF9 is a top-selling male performance product at GNC. Call right now to try GF9 for 60 days absolutely risk-free.
Call 1-800-795-9129 or go to getgf9.com.
Join us. Get your drive back, get your youth back, and get back in the game with GF9.
Hi, folks. Medicare Part C plans with extra benefits like getting money added back to your Social Security check may now be available to you in your zip code. Make sure you're not missing out. It's simple. 1, call the number on your screen. 2, they'll look up your zip code and see if you're eligible. 3, they'll check for plans with extra benefits like prescriptions, dental coverage, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every single month. Call now.
I called to get everything I deserve.
I called to check my zip code for a plan with a benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to check my zip code.
Millions of people have called the Medicare Coverage Helpline. Call, check your zip code, see if you're eligible, and get what you deserve. Call now.
Call 1-800-810-7576. That's 1-800-810-7576 now.
Checking in from one of the 5 crime families in New York is Michael Corleone on a Tuesday. Here he is, our legal insider from Harvard, Rick Haro. He looks a little bit like maybe James Caan in The Godfather when you think about it. Look at him there. Like, we're going to go to a funeral right after the show today. All right, well, Rick, it's good to see you finally. I thought I lost you somewhere near Bar Harbor, Maine the last time I've seen you. So he just told me he went out to lunch with Elon Musk and dinner with the Walton heir to the Walmart fortune after they bought the Broncos. And he's worn the same outfit to both meals. Look at him. There you go.
Yeah, James Caan. Thank you for the comparison, but James Caan passed recently. I don't want to be. I don't want to be that man. But do I look younger? No. Stick to your day job. No. That's the answer. I look better. No. Yes. No. No.
You look better than James Caan. I'll give you that much. And he was one of my favorites of all time. Do you want me to repeat? I did it to Carver High one day. My favorite line from The Thief: "If you're gonna pinch me, pinch me. If not, get your greasy hands off my Cadillac Eldorado." Anyway, here we go.
I love the movie.
Will Brittany Griner be traded for a Russian arms dealer any day now?
Yeah, an arms dealer and somebody else to be named later. This 2-on-2 swap is a different tone from the State Department. Remember when we said we wouldn't ever negotiate with terrorists for hostages, but we do it all the time. And so the 9 years was scripted in some context because the Russians wouldn't trade unless they thought she was a serious felon or whatever they call it. And the other guy, the arms dealer, 25 years. So I know it's been a time of personal turmoil for her, but hopefully this is a scripted way to get her released. We hope.
I mean, it is just crazy. I cannot fathom that we deal with these Russians, and you heard me. I cannot believe we let them play in professional sports in this country and make hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars. And I'll give England credit for one thing. The UK said, "You're not welcome here. You're not coming to Wimbledon. You're not playing in Wimbledon. We're not having you." I don't understand this country and the decisions they make to allow these Russians to do whatever they want. And then they take this girl for a thimble of hash oil. It's the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever seen. It is political drama at its highest level. There's no reason that girl should be in a Russian gulag. It's absolutely ridiculous. DraftKings stock is going through the roof again.
Yeah, and when you look at the numbers for all of the sports books on the exchanges, up about 33% over the last year. Pretty darn good, considering whatever else has happened to the stock market. They seem to be bucking the economic trends. The losses, which everybody predicted, because remember, you got to pay to get the gamblers in the system, and then they'll continue to gamble. They expected about 75 cents on a dollar loss. They got 50 cents on a dollar, which I guess is pretty good. Overall revenue, over $1.2 billion. So if you're one of the big boys in the gambling space, you're doing well.
So we saw Baselli, Vermeil, etc. get into the Hall of Fame in Canton. Now you're talking about next year, Revis Island. Joe Thomas, is that the head of the class?
Well, Dwight Feeney, Joe Thomas, Revis Island. And the point is, everybody tries to figure out what's best statistically. It is a great opportunity to keep people engaged. You have some writers who will advocate a certain guy and will get writers to also vote for him. It's like a presidential election. It's politics like anything else. And I got to say, the ceremonies are getting better and better, even if the football is not. To hear Richard Seymour's speech, to hear some of the other people was really quite moving. And these guys, when they're very serious about it, they get the speeches either written for them or written themselves, are quite articulate. It is a sight to behold.
So EA lost their lover, FIFA, and kicked them out of bed, and now they have a new lover, it appears, Sky Sports and the EPL. It might be even smarter, this new deal for their soccer games.
Well, they have to pay less for them, 128 exclusive Premier League games on the #1 channel, but then digital and streaming for everybody else. they're rebranding. And I know FIFA is big enough where they can dictate the terms of what they think they want to do. But when EA gets in the middle of this, they're saying, look, we invented the game along with our partner. We shouldn't be squeezed out. And here's our alternative.
Gary Neville, whoever the hell that is telling the Glazer family they must sell Manchester United after their embarrassing loss to Brighton Hove Albion in their opener, and no Ronaldo either, who was booed.
Pundit. But listen, the Brits take their soccer, football seriously. We all know the uproar when the Glazer family cobbled together the dollars to buy controlling interest in Manchester. And then, look, this is one of the more successful families of sports ownership just because they have two titans. They have one of the best teams in the Premier League, or one of the biggest legacies on that side, and now the Buccaneers with their comeback and Brady in the Super Bowl. And so just because a pundit or somebody with some interest says sell doesn't mean they ought to sell. It's just things aren't going as well as they could have for the Glazers.
As you know, I don't wear hats due to the belief that they cause baldness, but it looks like New Era does not have that same philosophy.
Well, baldness for some people, and $700 million new investment with basketball, football, and baseball with others, and great for them. Fanatics also follows that model. They're joint venturing with the leagues very quickly. They have an international division as well. And so those retail companies sure are getting a jump on everybody else, whether you wear hats or not. By the way, New Era, I know it's important to you. They're not going to miss your revenue. $700 million of new revenue coming in. That's okay.
Sports betting updates from Massachusetts and North Carolina, Texas. What do you got for me today?
Well, Massachusetts is big because they're not saying if, I think they're probably saying when. Governor Patrick says, I'll sign it, but I don't want to sign anything irresponsible. We got a little bit of time. He looked at the governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine. He signs a bill last year, doesn't take effect until 2023. And they said they're going to lose out on revenue. But Ohio's got 8 partners with 8 teams. They're all generating ready-to-go dollars and a process. And Massachusetts says we've got cybersecurity issues. We got where are we going to do it, the casino issues. And so the earliest they're thinking about is week 8 or 9 of the NFL season. They may even wait till 2023, but they're going to do it, and they're going to do it big.
All right, compare Audi going with Sky Sports. How big is Sky Sports compared to ESPN? And what does ESPN's Big Ten loss mean to their bottom line?
Well, the Big Ten was kind of taken for granted, but the Big Ten's new Fox deal means that it's probably going to mean that you have 2 big super conference dollars. The Fox deals with the Big Ten and the Pac-12, and the ESPN dollars with the ACC and the SEC, although they'll meet in the middle somewhere with some of those. But the bottom line is ESPN wanted it badly, and they didn't get it. And, you know, Audi's big, but it's certainly nowhere near the EA FIFA former Premier League deal.
The UFC headed back to Salt Lake City for 278.
Yeah, and they have a program, by the way, where they're talking about not just the guys, but the women as well. And the bottom line is Leon Edwards, Luke Rockhold, all of those guys are adding to the deal. And we thought this was only for big markets, big cities. I guess Salt Lake's a big enough market because it has an NBA team, but they're doing a good job and they're only getting better.
20 seconds. Fubo TV was getting a license in Jersey for their sports betting app, and now they're getting out of the business?
Well, they want an independent sports book. They don't think they're big enough. So you have success stories with the big guys, but the smaller guys, it is a big, ever-changing market. You just got to be careful.
Say hello to the Godfather for me, Mr. Haro, Mr. Khan. I can't keep track of all your different characters. You're a leader of men. Always good to see you. Thanks for coming on Coast to Coast. Have a great week.
If you or a loved one has mesothelioma or been diagnosed with another asbestos-related cancer, call now. An estimated $30 billion in court-ordered trusts have been set aside to pay out claims to asbestos victims. You may be able to receive compensation without ever going to court or filing a lawsuit. Thousands of hardworking men and women have been diagnosed with mesothelioma because manufacturers put profits ahead of safety. Manufacturers knew the risks of asbestos exposure for years, but knowingly manufactured and sold deadly asbestos-containing materials, putting millions of American workers at risk. These manufacturers have tried to avoid compensating their victims, but the courts have ordered them to set aside an estimated $30 billion in trust money for the victims of asbestos. Call now to see if you're entitled to a portion of the $30 billion. You could receive compensation without filing a lawsuit or going to court.
For your free legal consultation, call 800-268-1371. That's 800-268-1371. I'm a non-attorney spokesperson. Are you over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days? I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. Call now for this free book on maximizing your income in retirement. Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers from leading financial firm J.D. Mellberg. That's right, free. This book reveals little-known truths about annuities in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now, because we're about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known truths we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity, and it's free. Call 800-273-2815. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report. We researched numerous products and summarized rates and benefits of annuities, all from Silac Insurance Company. Call 800-273-2815. That's 800-273-2815. Call now.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Diabetics understand all too well the pain of pricking your fingers, but now by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor or CGM, you can immediately reduce your pain. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 or more times daily, injecting insulin 3 or more times daily, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now.
Attention! Do you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS? If so, you may qualify for the IRS Fresh Start program, so you won't have to make any payments to the IRS. That's right. If you qualify for the IRS's Fresh Start program, you won't make any IRS payments once you are accepted. Once you are in the IRS Fresh Start program, they must stop all harassing and threatening collection activities. Call Tax Relief today now at 800-382-1870 to see if you qualify. Again, 800-382-1870.
Download the BetMGM app. There's 16 games in baseball today, 15 tonight. And you can bet $10 on any MLB game and get $200 back from BetMGM if anyone hits a home run on either team. Just use the bonus code MLBHR 2022. That's MLB Home Run 2022. Bet $10, win $200 if anybody hits a home run. I mean, that is just beautiful. Get that BetMGM app going on your phone. It's more important than oxygen. We continue on with NFL Pain Day Skinny.
Yes, a lot to do here in this segment, Scotty. Let's go. The Bengals have sold the naming rights to Paul Brown Stadium. No longer. It will now be Paycor Stadium, Scotty. Paycor Stadium in Cincinnati. Another long-standing name falls by the wayside.
How
understandably
awful
so.
are the names of these stadiums now in sports? I mean, it gets worse by the league, by the sport, by the stadium. I mean, is anybody left with a cool name? It's just so bad. The Pittsburgh and Cincinnati names are just awful.
Awful. Can't have it. Marshawn Lynch not having a good day, Scotty. Arrested and charged with driving under the influence in Las Vegas earlier this morning. So not a good day for
Hello,
Marshawn
Dougie
Lynch
Fresh.
since
Can you get your boy on C2C from jail?
Yeah, Dougie Fred. Yeah, not a good thing. So Marshawn in a little bit of trouble out there in Sin City. You talked about a lot of the hoops with Coach earlier in the show. I did want to give you the tweet from the owner, Joe Tsai, last night. Of course, he backed his general manager, Sean Marks, and the coach, Steve Nash. Our front office and coaching staff have my support. We will make decisions in the best interest of the Brooklyn Nets. So the owner, Scotty, responding to all the noise yesterday on social media.
Well, I have said I don't believe any of it. So fair enough. Have at it with this crappy story. This is just tabloid stories. These are, there's a big fight. He went, confronted, threatened the owner. Here's the deal. I agree with Durant and Kyrie Irving on a couple things. One, they both have mad game. I get that. B, they can't win together. We've already seen that. But I do agree with them on this, that I think Sean Marks is awful, and I think Steve Nash is his next-door neighbor. I do not believe in either one of them. I think Marks has run the Nets into the ground, and I do not believe I have seen one inkling of Nash being a coach. He's a Hall of Fame point guard, great legendary player. You know what? He's better at playing soccer in New York City in the summer than he is as an NBA coach. He has done absolutely nothing as an NBA coach except fail. I'm sorry. And no one wants to admit it. They're so afraid to say that a Hall of Fame legend sucks, but he does.
We are the fashion police, as you mentioned earlier, on Coast to Coast. The Lakers, Scotty, unveiled another throwback jersey that they are going to wear this year. Throwback to some of their Minnesota days. You like this with the Lakers with the blue in front there?
No,
little
they look
yellow
like the
on the
Nuggets.
They do look like the Nuggets. That's, yeah. Yeah, don't wear those when Denver comes to town.
Terrible.
Yeah, that's true, too, Maf. UCLA. Got a little
Mafia
UCLA
with a
brewing.
UCLA call, that works.
That works as
Fabulous.
well. Lakers throwbacks. There you go. Memo says that NBA players must be vaccinated or have medical clearance to play in Canada. So basically, Scotty, the same thing that we've been doing, right? In the NBA. Wasn't that the rules this year?
Hold on a second. Hold on. Mafia's talking to me. What time's my monkeypox vaccine, Mafia?
Yes.
And what about the polio one? That's same night? And what about my third booster? When? Saturday? I play basketball on Saturday. Oh, it's Saturday afternoon? All right. I'm getting the monkeypox and polio shots. What else can we get? Hold on. When is the gonorrhea one? Sunday. I got to go to Matt. Oh, it's at church. I'm having that test done. All right. I'm having a gonorrhea test on Sunday at noon. I can't keep track of all these vile diseases that are going to kill all of us in America. I can't keep track of the FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago and when my next vaccination is. I don't care anymore what I'm going to die from. It's coming any day.
Netflix debuts a trailer on disgraced NBA referee Tim Donaghy. That will be amusing and fun.
It looks good.
They do a documentary.
It looks
on
good.
Him. Diana Taurasi will miss the rest of the WNBA season. She has a quad injury. Rough scene there for Taurasi. All right, college football, Scotty. The Big Ten reportedly finalizing media rights deal with Fox, CBS, NBC. It'll be the first time in 40 years the Big Ten will not be broadcast on ESPN. So they will have the big noon game on Fox, a 3:30 game on CBS, and a night game on NBC. Those are their national televised windows.
So no longer on Saturdays at noon we get the Ohio State or Wisconsin or Michigan game only. They show nothing else. Like they never show any other teams. They only show Camp Randall, Columbus, and Ann Arbor, and that's it. Like when they'll show an Indiana game if everyone has COVID at the other schools.
Right. Well, look, you know how this is. This is going to be the same deal as you've always talked about with SEC being on CBS. They're moving over to ESPN, and they're going to be on ESPN at 3:30 now with the same games you've seen on CBS. So now in CBS, you'll, like you said, they'll be at the Horseshoe. They'll be at Camp Randall. They'll be at Happy Valley. They'll be at the Big House. Look, all the same games are there. We're just watching them in different places. It's not like the games are gone. They haven't gone to the streaming yet. So you still get all the games. Oh, I know. It's coming. But for now, we just, they're all still on. They're just on in different places, Scotty. That's all.
Carver High was watching a game the other day, and I actually have footage. I'm not allowed to air it on this show. But he literally, and I got the footage, and I can't air it, but he said in the middle of the game, he goes, Ferrall doesn't have Peacock Network. Scumbag.
No.
That's what he said.
No.
Because I don't have Peacock. He knows I refuse to add another streaming service since I already have 40 of them. He has Peacock, and he likes to make fun of me that I don't have it.
And a lot of people now are dropping the breadcrumbs that they feel that this means that Notre Dame is joining the Big Ten because of the NBC tie-in. All the Notre Dame people that I read last night and this morning say that is not necessarily the case. They will still get their money from NBC. They will still put them on at 3:30, and the 2 night games, they'll bump those Big Ten games to Peacock, like you were just talking about. So they're going to get their Notre Dame money.
I mean, if there's one thing I've learned in 57 years, it's just whatever you do, trust everything the Catholics say.
Catholics are always, there you go, Scotty. They're always right. They are always right. Alabama, #1 in the preseason coaches poll, as I told you yesterday. So I thought today I would give you that coaches poll with everybody's odds to win the national title. You'll notice a difference, Scotty, between the top left corner of the quadrant, where Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia are, and everybody else's numbers. You see how there's like a lot more numbers on everybody else, like really long shots, and then those 3 teams in the top left all have small odds? Yeah, that's because nobody else has a chance besides those 3 teams.
College football is great for betting, and it's awful if you think you're ever going to win a national championship at any school except the 4 at the top of that list. You have no chance to win. You do have a chance to go to a crappy bowl game that nobody watches, but you do help us bettors every week when we bet on your games. There's nothing better than betting on college football.
There's nothing better. We love doing it. But if you're a fan of one of these teams and you actually think you have a chance to win the national title, you got another thing coming. One of those fan bases this year is, of course, LSU. Brian Kelly's first year in Baton Rouge. They are still rebuilding the program after a couple of subpar seasons since that national title. Brian Kelly wanted to welcome in all the media the first session as practices started down there, Scotty. Didn't get a lot of response around the room. Here's Brian.
All right, it's football time. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, it's great to have you here, too. All right, I think that's how we're going to go this year. Beautiful.
Not in South Bend anymore. The Catholics aren't there anymore, Brian. Look.
This guy.
Not in South Bend anymore.
Listen, he is going to cheat like no other after he got rid of all those priests. Believe me, those corrupt priests. I mean, you got to listen. My priest is the best. Everyone knows my priest. He drinks J-Mo and smokes cigarettes by the pack, 2-3 a day. He means business. He's like, we're all going soon, Scotty. Hand me the J-Mo.
Let's also check in with Nick here quickly, Scotty. Mid-season form for Nick Saban during preseason practices for Alabama. Don't ask him about injuries.
You know what's wrong with the camera?
Yeah, I do. Look, we're going to have guys that are able to practice and not able to practice on a daily basis. And we're not going to have an injury report every day about who practiced and who didn't practice.
There you go. He's just such a friendly guy, but he loves the media as long as it's helping him, go play in the college football playoff. As long as you're helping him, he's the nicest guy in the world. Ask him anything he doesn't like, he'll never answer you. He's the biggest D in college football.
You can get on his bad side very quickly. SMU football and hoops, all their players, $36,000 annually. NIL deal with the Boulevard Collective. Not bad for SMU. Long way from the death penalty, right?
It's not bad, but people still don't want to go there.
No.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
With Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-450-0515. 1-800-450-0515.
You heard a screech outside at night, but you can't see what it is because there's not enough light. You need the Bionic Floodlight from Bell & Howell, the solar-powered motion-activated multi-directional floodlight, the versatile wireless, safety, security, and outdoor lifestyle light you'll love. And right now, it's yours for just $29.99, and the shipping is free. Order now, and we'll send a second Bionic Floodlight. Just pay a separate fee. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-604-7066 or order online at bionicfloodlight.com.
I lost my motivation. I was feeling old and starting to look it. And then, voila, I feel better than I did in my 20s. If you feel stuck, if you can't find the drive, it may be due to low HGH, which naturally drops with age.
Your growth hormone levels start declining in your 20s, but GF9's lab-tested, patented formula is designed to boost GH levels naturally by up to 682%. Growth hormone is associated with reduced body fat, increased lean muscle, improved energy, mood, and more. And best of all, GF9 has been shown to work in as little as 2 hours.
I've taken a million different supplements. This is the first one that I've noticed has made a tremendous difference.
To me, GF9 is the best supplement out on the market.
GF9 is a top-selling male performance product at GNC. Call right now to try GF9 for 60 days absolutely risk-free.
Call 1-800-795-9129 or go to getgf9.com.
Join us. Get your drive back, get your youth back, and get back in the game with GF9.
Hi, folks. Medicare Part C plans with extra benefits like getting money added back to your Social Security check may now be available to you in your zip code. Make sure you're not missing out. It's simple. 1, call the number on your screen. 2, they'll look up your zip code and see if you're eligible. 3, they'll check for plans with extra benefits like prescriptions, dental coverage, and the benefit that adds money back to your Social Security check every single month. Call now.
I called to get everything I deserve.
I called to check my zip code for a plan with a benefit that adds money back to my Social Security check.
I called to check my zip code.
Millions of people have called the Medicare Coverage Helpline. Call, check your zip code, see if you're eligible, and get what you deserve. Call now.
Call 1-800-810-7576. That's 1-800-810-7576 now.
Adam Kaplan is our NFL insider on Sports Grid and Coast to Coast, and he literally just told me in the break that he doesn't care at all that it's 105 with the heat index in New York City today, and it smells like garbage. He said that he has spent the entire day at the pool lapping in the sun, perfect weather in Tampa. This is the first shirt he has had on since 10 a.m. He's been laying at the pool drinking Mai Tais all day, getting ready for joint practices tomorrow, I believe, with like Tampa and the Dolphins or something like that.
Yep.
But he just told me, I don't care about your heat and humidity and misery in New York City. I'm at the pool. I'm very busy. Let's get on with the segment. And I was like, okay, there you go. That's the way it is. He's been to see the Eagles, Commanders, Jags, Bucks. Now he's going to see the Bucks and Finns joint practices Wednesday and Thursday. He gets to go to the pool. Let's start with the Commanders and the latest update on the esteemed Carson Wentz.
Yeah, boy, the social media posts from the beat reporters, I understand what they're talking about with the accuracy issue. So let's get into it. You know, what's the issue with Carson Wentz? Why has he been so up and down? So I was with them last Saturday night at FedEx Field. They had their practice there. They're in uniform there, and they had a spirited practice. You know, first half of that practice, Ferrall, his accuracy was way off. And this is something which has been an issue in 2019. In 2020, that got him benched with Philly. He was better last year with it, but he's fallen off here in practice. Now, talking to Washington privately about it, they're not concerned like everyone else seems to be. They know he's a work in progress. He's healthy. Remember, last year at this time, he was coming back from a stress fracture. He actually had surgery. Then he somehow miraculously was ready for week 1 for the Colts, but he's healthy now. In fact, he had a great run around end. He looked very healthy. So the health is not the issue. It's just the mechanics. The throwing mechanics right now are off a little bit. They got to get him righted. It is true, I'm told, that the accuracy has been up and down. And the first half of practice, it was off. Second half of practice, it was phenomenal. He had a bomb downfield to, of all people, Sony Michel's older brother. Deep middle, great throw. I was able to see that from beginning to end. But yeah, the accuracy is certainly an issue. That they're not considering doing anything with him with Taylor Heineke replacing him. That's nonsense. Wentz is their starter. They got to get his accuracy better. But I can tell you from talking to Scott Turner, the offensive coordinator for Washington, he's very excited to work with Wentz, and he wants to get him right and get him in the right direction. He feels like he is, and he's very excited about Jahan Dotson, their first-round pick out of Penn State, who's had a phenomenal camp. Scott had a great story. Like, whenever Dotson makes a mistake, it's almost like, is there something wrong? This is out of character, because he's been so perfect, so great in training camp that he's been one of the best players in offense. So they're really loaded on offense. Really, the only issues for them are on the offensive line in the interior. They've got a couple changes, but other than that, they feel really good about their offense. They're going to throw the ball downfield with Wentz. Defensively, Chase Young will not be ready for the start of the regular season. He's on PUP with come back from the ACL injury. Jamin Davis was a first-round pick for last year at linebacker, who struggled as a rookie, do much better. He's more comfortable in Jack Del Rio's defense. So they're expecting to be better. Their over-under, by the way, is 8.5. And it's funny because I've said all along they're going to be somewhere in 8 or 9 wins in a much improved, believe it or not, much improved NFC East.
Well, they won 7 games, and they had the Del Rio incident. You got no Chase Young to start the season. And you're telling me today that Wentz has been anything but accurate. He's had some good, but some bad. Yeah. I don't know how that excites them. I mean, they got this guy to be their quarterback, and he's like, sounds like he's all over the place a little bit. That's not a concern to you? They look like a 7-8 win team again to me.
I think the number from FanDuel is absolutely accurate. We're going to get to another team in a minute where I think they're way off, but I think right here they got this one correct. There's no question Carson Wentz is a more talented quarterback than Taylor Heineke. That's why the Commanders gave up multiple draft picks here to go get Wentz. But the fact of the matter is they got to get him right. Ken Zampese, the quarterback coach, is really good. And Scott Turner's done a lot of work with quarterbacks over the years. Of course, he's the son of North Turner. They got to get this thing under control here. But they're going to have a great running game. They're really excited about Brian Robinson, a third-round pick in this past draft, who will team up with Antonio Gibson. The building blocks are there to be better, but Wentz has got to be more accurate. And I wouldn't panic with 4 weeks left till the start of the regular season. I think the beat reporters are just going by what they see. It is true. Wentz has got to be more accurate.
Listen, have you not been stunned at his fall from grace and what has happened to Carson Wentz? What can you explain to me has happened to his game? This guy went from leading the Eagles toward a Super Bowl to never being the same again. He's been awful.
Here's what's true. 2018 back fracture, actually played pretty well. 2019, you saw the regression. Yes, he had injuries. 2020, terrible. He got benched. 21, rebound in terms of playing much better, but the Colts didn't want him, questioning his leadership. You're now on 3 teams in 3 years. He's 29 years old. It's a position you could play well into your late 30s, but he's got to turn around his career. He's got to take responsibility for it. From talking to someone close to him, he's playing a little bit looser. He's not worrying about the criticism. But the accuracy, man, that is the other thing here. We talked about the injuries. That's true. It's the accuracy and the mechanics. He overstrides, I'm told, when he throws a little bit. They've got to get him more in balance. But I could tell you from being there, watch him in closely, in that second half of that practice last Saturday, he was tremendous. But that's the problem. It's the inconsistency of the accuracy. It's got to be better, or they're not going to be a much better football team this year.
Do you think it was fair that Irsay blamed him for the Colts' failures when they had that alleged great defense and they had Jonathan Taylor, and then when it was all said and done, the entire thing was blamed on Carson Wentz and they got rid of him in one season?
Yeah, and it was way too heavy. Now, a couple things here with Wentz. Remember, he didn't get the vaccine. He was not available to practice leading up to the last game against Jacksonville where they needed a win to get in. He never winds up practicing. All he could do was warm up prior to that game in Jacksonville, and he didn't play well. No. You mentioned their defense. Their defense was not good down the stretch. That's another part of people want to blame Wentz. Yes, he didn't get the vaccine. He wasn't ready for week 18. No question about it. A game they had to win in week 17, or their 17th game against the host Jaguars, against a very bad football team who's had their number in recent years. You got to win that game, and you got to be available. And Irsay and Chris Ballard did not back Wentz publicly. When is the last time, you and I have watched football our whole lives, when is the last time ownership and a GM do not protect their quarterback publicly? That is rare.
I mean, Ballard just literally threw him into the coals after the season. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Let's talk about the Jaguars after their anemic performance in Canton.
Yeah, they were bad. In fact, speaking of that, I'm glad you mentioned that they were so bad that Doug Peterson had the team put on the pads on Sunday. They were only back. They were back on the field over the weekend, and they tackled so badly, and their run defense was so bad. They put them in pads, and I'm told they had a very spirited practice on Sunday. I was with them yesterday. Now, talking to them, they understand where they're at. They're in a rebuilding situation where they've had one winning season over 12 years, and that shocking season in 2017 where they were one play literally against the Patriots from going to the Super Bowl with Blake Bortles as their quarterback. But here's what they're excited about. Doug Peterson comes in, as you and I talked about last week, the exact opposite of Urban Meyer, brings in a positive attitude. This is a Super Bowl winner. I'm told they're probably going to be more of a spread offense, what we call 11 personnel. One tight end, 3 wide receivers. They're super loaded at wide receiver. They're really excited about Christian Kirk, $18 million a year at wide receiver. They're going to move him all over the place. Travis Etienne, the first-round pick out of Clemson last year, did not play due to the broken foot. He looks great. In fact, I'm told he was running in February. He looks great. He's going to be a passing down running back. He'll be their main back. I would predict over 50 receptions for Etienne easily in the passing game. And now James Robinson is working limited. He was their former starting running back. He tore his Achilles last year.
Right.
The question is not that he'll be ready for week 1 where they could play early on. He's just not in good enough physical shape. He's got to get in better shape, so they're going to limit him. And but the thing is, he's doing well coming back from it. Trayvon Walker, remember their first pick overall. He's switching positions. He's not playing the interior of the defensive line. He's going to be a stand-up pass rusher. And here's a name for you, Jaguar fans. You know about him, but not that the public around the country does not. Andre Sisco, who's a safety, who's a second-year player out of Syracuse, had 13 picks in college. He's going to be a big factor here in Mike Caldwell's defense. Mike Caldwell, their defensive coordinator, one of the best assistant coaches around the league in terms of defense. He's calling plays for the first time in his career. So they're excited for this defense. But here's the thing, Ferrall. 6.5 wins is their over-under. I think it actually moved up from 5.5. They're not getting over 6. There's no way they're getting 6. This is a total rebuild. They've got some good young players. But I'm sorry, they're not going to get 6 wins or more in the AFC South.
Are they giving Trevor Lawrence like a hall pass, like that didn't even count, that Urban Meyer destroyed you, he ruined you, we're going to start over from scratch with Doug Peterson? Do you believe that I've seen these stories that keep coming out, and there are documentaries coming out of how utterly toxic this guy was for that organization? Are the fumes of Urban Meyer still running through the air conditioning ducts at the Jacksonville headquarters? Has he ruined this football team into another year?
The only thing I could tell you, talking to people with the Jaguars privately, they'll talk to you talk to them, and they'll talk about stories that happened last year. But on the field, the players love Doug Peterson because he's a breath of fresh air. He's a breath of positivity. In fact, he more or less has personnel control. Not that he needs to use it. Trent Baalke's the general manager who's done it for years, but they're building together. But no, I don't feel that there's a stench around there. Yes, people have been with the organization for years. Were pretty miserable last year because it was a miserable situation. But they love Doug Peterson, and they get it. And by the way, they will host the Browns on Friday, who have their own issues to deal with.
Let me ask you this question. Do you believe it's a disaster for Florham Park and the Jets, this Becton injury? Do you believe after 2 years of blown out right knees that he's finished?
No, they're going to get this right. Now, this is the same right knee, but it's a chip fracture in that knee that was repaired last year. Remember, he missed 15 games. But what they're going to do is this. They've got George Fant, who was an incredible story, who played basketball in college.
Right.
He was great last year playing left tackle. Now, he could play right or left tackle like he did for Seattle. Speaking of Seattle, Dwayne Brown, the veteran left tackle, who turns 37 soon, he did visit the Jets. They have interest in signing him. Now, if they sign Brown, he'll play left tackle, and then they'll move Fant over to right. Udoga, who's in his fourth year, he's a former third-round pick. He could play right tackle if need be, so they'll be okay. But Becton's got to get his knee right, and that's a shame. 2 straight years where he's missing almost all the season. Well, this year he's going to miss the entire season. Last year he only was available for 2 games. This is a shame. And, one thing to get his weight in order, but the fact of the matter is he's not going to be available, and this is going to be disappointing for a team that really feels, and I'll be with them soon, talking to them, Ferrall, they really feel they're going to be better than last year. And remember, their over-under is only 5.5. I still like the over, despite the really tough schedule. The first 4 games are extremely difficult for the Jets to get even 1 win over those 4.
This kid, Wilson, has to bust out this year, and I think the Becton weight has been an issue. He's so enormous that his knees keep blowing out. He was pushing people around at camp, too. He looked fantastic, and then, boom, it was over. Adam, enjoy the dual practices tomorrow with the Fins and Bucks.
Have you ever felt leg pain, restlessness, cramps, tingling, swelling, numbness, itchiness, or coldness? Then you need the new, clinically proven Legzercise Pro, the natural circulation booster that uses continuous automatic leg movement to soothe pain and promote healthy circulation the natural drug-free way.
After using Legzercise for a week, I felt like I wanted to go for a walk again without pain like I used to.
Legzercise Pro's patented walking simulator propulsion technology moves your feet back and forth along its concave track, creating constant movement and flex at both the knee and ankle joints. It's like having a physical therapist right in your own home.
It's helped with the swelling and the pain. The tingling feeling is gone.
Call right now and order your very own Legzercise Pro, the clinically proven automatic leg mover that soothes pain and naturally promotes healthy circulation. Call now.
If you or a loved one has mesothelioma or been diagnosed with another asbestos-related cancer, call now. An estimated $30 billion in court-ordered trusts have been set aside to pay out claims to asbestos victims. You may be able to receive compensation without ever going to court or filing a lawsuit. Thousands of hardworking men and women have been diagnosed with mesothelioma because manufacturers put profits ahead of safety. Manufacturers knew the risks of asbestos exposure for years, but knowingly manufactured and sold deadly asbestos-containing materials, putting millions of American workers at risk. These manufacturers have tried to avoid compensating their victims, but the courts have ordered them to set aside an estimated $30 billion in trust money for the victims of asbestos. Call now to see if you're entitled to a portion of the $30 billion. You could receive compensation without filing a lawsuit or going to court.
For your free legal consultation, call 800-268-1371. That's 800-268-1371. I'm a non-attorney spokesperson.
Funerals can be emotionally devastating for a family to go through. Besides the sorrow, loved ones are left with the high cost of arranging a funeral. Funeral Advantage was formed to help protect your family when they need it most. It pays your loved ones up to $20,000 immediately for funeral and any other expenses.
It's a good feeling to know that my family will be taken care of if anything happens to me.
Funerals can easily cost $9,000 or more, but government benefits pay only $255, leaving your loved ones to pay the rest.
It's so easy, just answer a few simple health questions.
This is so affordable, even for someone like me who's on a fixed income.
If you're 40 to 85, get information on how to protect your family. Funeral Advantage is something we all need. There's no risk or obligation. Call now.
Get the facts about how easy it is to protect your family. Call 800-565-6178. That's 800-565-6178.
Fast forward for all in your facial, the Ferrall offender. Serena Williams allegedly will retire after the U.S. Open. Drag. Tyson Fury announces he's ending his short-lived 3-month retirement to pursue a fight with Derek Chisora. What a thrill that'll be for everyone for a third time. Anthony Pettis needs surgery after breaking both of his hands in a PFL semifinal loss the other night. Gary Player calls out his son Mark on social media for trying to auction off his dad's memorabilia without his consent. Little family squabble going on there. Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home raided by FBI agents. Beautiful. Olivia Newton-John passes away at 73. She was great in Grease, right? Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson call it quits. How unfortunate. James Franco slammed by John Leguizamo for being cast as Fidel Castro in an upcoming movie. John Leguizamo very upset about that. He said he's not Latino, for Christ's sakes. Decorated LA nurse accused of getting drunk, shooting into neighbor's Sunset Boulevard apartment. She had the JMO out, Carver High, rolling, brought out the 9 Glock, started shooting into the ceiling. Top 5 beer drinking countries: China, USA, Brazil, Russia, and Mexico. We lose to the Chinese in beer drinking. I have seen it all. Man killed by snake bite hours after his brother was killed and buried for a snake bite. The whole family having a lot of luck lately with the snakes. A real fight club in the Bronx aimed to end shootings with illegal boxing, illegal booze selling, and prostitution. Booty out the yin in the boogie down. Georgia couple charged with using their adopted children to make child porn. Come here, kids. Want to show you the new family room. Here, wear this blindfold and bend over. Oh my God, what is happening here? And at that level of disgust, we will end this program. TTD is next. We'll see you tomorrow on Coast to Coast. Good night, everybody.